Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is OnePegMG, and this is another Tarkov update. So I'm going to minimize myself here in the view screen, because in the background is going to be all of the concept art, modeling information, all of the video and images that were shared throughout the entirety of the podcast, where you can see some of the different things that they're working on. Yeah, so we'll get right into this here. Okay, so the very first thing that was brought up was an idea of a training room, like a room to lift weights in or exercise. Nikita kind of laughed at this and said that you can find people doing this now already on Nighttime Factory, leveling a skill that they're focused on. It sounded like he might be making an adjustment there. The flea market was a big issue, or a big topic of discussion. There were a few different points here. He said that you can make an awful lot of money on the flea market. You don't even have to go into raids to do it. I think I've, in this channel, shown people and in my streams a considerable number of ways where you can do that. There was the problem discussed about buying up all of the rare ammo and then relisting it on the flea market and then inflating the pricing. Nikita said some items and ammo have gone up more than 10x in price, which he is personally aware of, and said that he's even gone in and modified the stocks of those items and the rates of sale on certain ammo types. He said that globally there's going to be a deficit mechanic, meaning that amounts of items are going to be capped off globally over a certain period of time, so that there can't be too much of one thing in circulation. So that will be a partial fix. Then the issue regarding the ammo itself not spawning in the raids. Nikita said specifically he does not like the idea behind, like, quote-unquote placeholder items. But he did take a note of things that a lot of us have been saying, where we need that ammo and certain other items to be spawning in raids for those weapon systems. He showed some leaks of photos of stuff in development, which, you know, obviously we will see here as the slideshow progresses. So there was a model of all of the SVD parts being revealed. Then there was some talk on patch 0.11. He said they're trying to get that out before the new year. So they want to get that out in the next handful of weeks. He said that there have been delays, but they are trying to get it done. They don't want to put out an inferior patch riddled with problems, so they will hold off on it if they must. But they are targeting end of year. They also showed, and you'll see it in here, pictures of some kind of surgical kit. It kind of looks like a trifold wallet almost, with surgical tools on the inside. He said that this is a surgical kit that is going to be used by PMCs to repair or regenerate blackened limbs. So that is interesting. Then there was conversation regarding cheating. He said that work is constantly ongoing, that they are trying to minimize the impact of cheating in Tarkov. He then showed a picture of a Philips Heartstart AED, which you will see in here somewhere. It's kind of like a red box with a heart on it, which is an automated external defibrillator. That, he said, is going to be used to repair a knockout state, meaning that there's going to be an extra mechanic added in at some point that will make people unconscious, but they don't have a date yet for the mechanics of the unconsciousness itself being implemented. He then showed a picture of an item that said SAVI or Savvy on the side, and kind of gave that a bit of a quizzitive thing to the community to ask if they knew what it was. And it was revealed that that was an RFID locator device. So it looks like that's going to be something that's going to be used maybe for a task or something along those lines, or possibly even an extraction flag, I wonder. He showed a picture of a trip mine and the components of that, or an OZM, otherwise known as a bouncing Betty. The mechanics of that are, you know, you step on this switch, this plunger, and then when you step off of it, the bouncing Betty hops up in the air about 3 feet and then explodes, releasing shrapnel in all directions. Really, really nasty thing. But trip mines are going to be a thing that's going to be implemented, either with a compression switch or a wire that can be extended, right? And I believe this one is the one that uses the wire. There's a stake that comes with it, it looks like. There's also an image that looks like a tube with threads on one end. That's an SV98 suppressor. There was a suggestion made by one of the members of the community where there would be loot drops via helicopter or via truck delivery with a container in it that you have to extract with, that is locked, unable to be unlocked, and you have to get it out of the raid and into the hands of a trader, let's say, with random loot on the inside. Nikita said that this has been planned and is modeled for, and there's the Heartstart AED. This is planned and has been modeled for already. He said that there are containers that they have not yet put into the game that they already have modeled and skinned up that is for this purpose, with the idea that you have to give it to a trader that specializes in opening that kind of a box. There's the RFID locator. And then you would be able to get loot from opening that box. He said one of the community members ended up kind of re-stressing that it was a mechanic or this part of the game should be after a 10 or 15 minute duration into the raid, because then it would kind of counteract the idea of a hatchling being able to get in there and just kind of get to the drop and then run out, which it seemed like Nikita kind of agreed with that. Then he went on to arena mode. He said arena mode is not currently ready, but it's ready in their hearts. He said putting it into the game is going to be something that's going to be difficult. That's a Tetris game. He said putting it into the game is going to be a bit harder, but the construction and implementation of it is going to be something that's going to take a little time. There's the bouncing Betty with the stake, right? There's your trip mine. Nikita referred to the arena and hideout as end game development content, and I think that means like kind of like end of development cycle, where it's kind of like one of the final things that needs to be like fully in the game. There's your SV98 suppressor. Patch 0.12 is the planned reference point for both the release of the hideout and arena. He said the arena is going to have several different game modes, like free-for-all, 2v2, 3v3, etc. He said he can't give us all of the details, but another little teaser was, he said, for example, kind of like, now this is my saying this, but like Call of Duty Zombies mode maybe. He's going to have a PvE-style mechanic where it's planned that you can go in against waves of different scavs. Sounds to me like a Tarkov arcade mode. Scoring for this will be kept through points. And servers for the arena will be separate, obviously, from servers for the base game, and will have a higher tick rate than that of the base game, which I also found to be interesting. For the hideout, he said that the hideouts are 98% ready. They're already drawn up. They're being modeled. Models are, I guess, done, I would say. He said the end game content like this isn't necessarily something that they're focusing on solely. There's obviously a lot more stuff that needs to be put in, but they're focusing on this type of stuff for the next two major patches. The biggest chunk of the end game content itself will come when the game is released, but they're working very hard to get as much of it into the game as they possibly can right now. He also said not a second goes past where they do not spend time on fixing bugs or hacks or other issues. They're always constantly working on them. In terms of pushing patches out to live, people were always kind of curious what time of day or week or year they tend on doing this stuff. He said that Wednesdays are the optimal time for doing that. So I think we can expect most other patches in the future to come out on Wednesdays. And Wednesdays being the optimal time is because you have Thursday and Friday for the player ramp up, and then obviously the weekend when players are most active. He said one of the worst things in development is when you put your heart into something and put it out into the world and it has problems or turns people off. He said it sucks. He said that they as devs all understand our players' frustrations, and they are constantly trying to work on the fixes. Regarding bugs, he still should realize at this point that the game is pretty vast even now, so bugs are obviously going to be a thing, but he keeps saying to his development team that they don't want to multiply the number of bugs and make progress on the existing ones. So they're trying to really vet this stuff as hard as they can. Regarding Unity 2018, which was the next question asked, he said that they're preparing the back end of Unity 2018 in order to professionally and on a high level push out content further down the line in terms of level building and rendering, meaning that it would make the devs' life a lot easier once it's implemented. He said it will be done fairly soon. Now, my personal take on this means that it's probably 3 to 6 months before we're going to see them make this migration. Regarding the frequency of location releases or patch releases, Nikita said that the Streets of Tarkov map is extremely well designed and pretty much ready. He said every 2 months they plan to release a couple of locations at the same time. He said they've got enough content for, in his words, 25 locations. They are working on upgrading the systems that they have and making them better down the line. For example, if you're fighting someone out in the cold, that will have implications on performance, meaning I believe in this case he meant the PMC character's performance, like how limber are they, for example. But they're working on upgrading their systems so that they can handle all of these extra things that they're trying to implement, like weather effects on people. In regard to patch testing, he said that there's an in-house testing team, but there aren't hundreds of them. So naturally, it's a little bit truncated in terms of what they're going to be able to find. Big thing here, he said that they're going to be adding test servers. Like what? He said they're going to be adding test servers that will be split off from public game servers, and that they are planned to be released, but they don't have a date yet. So it's something that they want to do, that they're trying to get out there so that, we can test things separate from the game instances. He said that these test servers will have no scavs. It will be just purposefully for running around and testing stuff. Cultists. So there's a faction, or factions, I should say, that are going to also be added into this game. The first of them being the Cultists. He said the Cultists models are ready, that in the game they will only appear at night. They will come in groups, and they will try to distract you from the front. One of them is going to try to get your attention in a certain direction, and another or others will try to flank you from the back and sides to try and get you. You will find them guarding the marked circles and other marked locations on all of the maps. They will mainly use melee weapons, and they're going to have, quote-unquote, unusual ways of trying to kill you. And then Nikita went on by saying, by making you bleed through blacking out your limbs. They are considering, now Nikita also went on to kind of elaborate on this in regard to melee weapons. He said that they are considering removing the knife slot altogether regarding looting of other players, meaning that kind of like how the pouch currently works, right? Like the containers, the gamma container, epsilons, whatever. When you loot somebody's body, you don't see those on the loot screen, right? So he's considering removing the knife slot as well. So whatever melee weapon you have cannot be taken from you. In regard to scav raiders and elite scavs, like Terror Group Labs, for instance, he said that they're going to have better weapons and better tactics. They'll be stocked with grenades, and they will be extremely coordinated. There's also some other scav elaborations, which are super, super interesting for me, and hopefully you guys find them too down here. Somebody asked about banging and clearing on the doors menu, right? Like that menu says bang and clear on it. He said they want to be able to create the game, not just fix an uncompleted or an incompleted game. They have to fix certain mechanics before the bang and clear mechanic will be ready due to certain issues and bugs. Regarding the rating system, somebody asked what kind of info are they getting? And he said, well, a lot of the unnecessary rankings or the fun stuff are going to be removed in the next 48 hours, and that others in the future will end up replacing them. Regarding the market again, somebody brought up the ammo being sold at sky-high prices. And to elaborate on this, he said, right now, the market is in a testing mode. They want to see the holes in the system and allow for all of the broken things so that they can fix them later and make the system work the way that we all want it to. He said that pretty much everyone, regardless of whatever system they're trying to exploit, is trying to find loopholes in all of these systems, not just the market. But they want them to happen so that they can get the data. They want to see the severity. Nikita said that they're going to sort it out soon, and he may end up banning items from being sold on the flea market altogether in the interim. So I would expect to see that we're going to see pricing on things that have been hyperinflated kind of reset back down to some base level, and he's going to ban the ability for them to be sold on the market completely. That would be really, really great for right now. So they're doing a lighting system rework, he says, at some point in the near future to remove the need for people to have to turn their gamma up 15 to 25% so that people, like audiences for streams, for instance, can see what the heck is going on. He said that they're working on a lot of different optimizations, and that he guaranteed once the optimizations they're working on are in the game and completed, the game will work a lot better, his words. He also said that they want to make the game a realistic battle simulator, and they're trying to make it happen as best as they possibly can. Things are not like the way that they are because the dev team is lazy. They're trying their absolute best. And it's always good to read or see something positive. He said that they don't even mind criticism. They actually love criticism as long as it's in a positive connotation. He said that, and then went further when he sees people that are really, really complaining and acting super frustrated about a certain mechanic, that they take that to heart and they immediately start investigating it. So, keep sending in the bug reports, because he said that they do absolutely read them and they do matter. Okay, on to the RPK, which has been playing in the background here a few different times for a couple of different, like, basic, small micro scenarios. The RPK, he said, is going to be the best AK in the game that there is and the most expensive. As you saw in a couple of videos, it comes with a drum mag. That drum mag is going to fit every other 5.45 AK in the game. The Remington 700... the cost of that will be cheaper than a DVL, but more expensive than the SV98. You can get a suppressed, there was some videos there of the Obrez, right? The suppressed Obrez will be a tradable item at Mechanic, meaning that you collect the parts in order to make the suppressed Obrez. You hand him the parts needed to make it, and he will give you back the completed and assembled gun. Nikita said that 2019 will be the finale year for Tarkov's beta phase. It will be a final push type of year, so they expect to have the game completed and release ready in 2019. Another gun that they're looking at adding is the Vepr Hunter variant, which will be a new addition in the future. The Vepr Hunter variant is a 308 Vepr, which I thought was pretty cool. He said that he found it funny with all of this mysticism, quote unquote, that the game has kind of going on. He said, "Do you remember when legs broke all the time? And now they don't as much." He said the same thing with rain. It's either all the time or never. So that he said that, I think he's kind of alluding to like the player base as a whole kind of having like these wide swathing changes from one side to the other, where they kind of have this thing, it's an all or nothing, right? He said another weather implementation that they're going to be adding will be snow, which I know was something that people had been asking about and he wasn't sure. And now he said that it's going to be done. Regarding scav bosses. So for the new bosses that are coming, he said almost every location will have its own scav boss with their own separate way of acting, their own tactics. He said Killa is almost ready to be implemented as the boss on Interchange, and there is a new teaser video for Killa coming out soon. He said that there's also another scav boss for Woods that's coming, which is going to be a commander of a group of woodsman hunters. In regard to another faction, there's going to be a new UN or UNTAR NPC division that's going to be added to the game. There's also going to be character customizations added, and those character customizations are almost finished. So we could see that implemented perhaps in the next couple of point updates. Regarding issues with game servers and players not being able to like play the game and problems like that, he said when they were working on Contract Wars, which if you guys didn't know, Contract Wars came before Tarkov and is part of the same universe. He said when Contract Wars was up and running or had been going kind of full swing, he said that they had an alert that would get an SMS text sent to their cell phones to let them know something was going wrong if the player base dropped below 1,000 people. So I thought that was kind of cool. Somebody asked him about the Christmas event. He said that presents for players for New Year's is going to be confirmed, although Nikita was reminded of this during the podcast and went like, oh yeah, and like wrote himself a note. When the game goes fully live, so here's another confirmation. When the game goes fully live, wipes are not going to happen anymore. There will be no wipes once the game goes live. He also said there is an end of game, quote unquote, where players could escape from Tarkov, like the title suggests. What that means, he didn't really elaborate on. There was talk of a prestige system like Call of Duty that was brought up, or like a season system like Diablo 3 for people to be able to get a fresh start. Nikita said that wasn't a bad idea, and he was actually thinking of making it more like a voluntary thing at the end of a quote-unquote season. So after a certain duration of time, people would have the option, I guess, of resetting their account or not. Nikita says that now, so here's a big thing. Historically, the conversation surrounding Tarkov and trading for items was something where we all were kind of led to believe that it was going to be pushed more toward bartering. But he said that there is a possibility that they will remove bartering from traders altogether, which is in direct conflict with what we've heard historically when we heard that they were moving away from cash and toward barter. But it seems now they're on the opposite side of the fence, so I don't really know what's going on there. Someone asked about mechanics like Hunt Showdown, where flocks of birds and other things making loud noises could give away your position. I don't know if you've seen this, but you can come across cans, barking dogs, that kind of stuff that will kind of like give away like your location based on directional audio. Nikita shrugged this one off and said that every bird costs 1 FPS. So no, that's not going to be in the game. They aren't going to include any kind of decaying of food like in DayZ. It's too far into the RPG element for this game. Game mechanics for working out armor rigs on top of body armor and how that works was a question that got asked. Nikita said that the Hideout will include a firing range with a manakin that you can put the armor onto the mannequin and shoot at it to test the effects of the ballistics. And that was kind of where he left it. He didn't really have an answer. One of the guys was kind of looking for like actual like numeric figures, statistics, and he didn't really have that for him. He had confirmed, somebody was asking about NPC traders in the world. And this is something that we already kind of knew, but he confirmed indefinitely that every single trader in the game right now is being modeled and will be placed in the physical world. He also said, so something super interesting about Scavs that I did not know. So Scavs have an easy, a medium, and a hard level of difficulty, like your basic everyday Scav. There is a chance while you are in the raid coming up on them for them to transform into harder modes. So easy can go to medium and medium can go to hard. And it's dependent on the level of the PMC that is engaging them. This has been in place since the beginning. I don't know how many of you guys knew about that, but I didn't. He also said that, again, Scav bosses will act in a unique way or manner. And, like, for instance, Killa's approach will be way different than the way that Reshala acts. Like, Reshala kind of retreats and lets, like, his guys go at it. Killa is obviously, like, much more armored, much more large. I have a feeling Killa is going to be much more of a frontliner. So in regard to the drug system, another thing that we already kind of knew, tolerance for drugs is going to be a thing. They won't last as long or have as much of an effect. And overdose is indefinitely coming. He said that regarding patches, they want to be able to alternate patches to be major content patches, which alternate with major technical updates as their primary focus. And that's what they're kind of working toward, is having kind of like these alternating patches where one is based on technical information, technical fixes, and the other one is based on content release. There was a question about the grenade launcher. He said it's not going to be ready for a while. They added South American servers. They are overhauling the soundtrack and main menu for the game in the near future, which I thought was also interesting. He also said, again, kind of responding to all of the frustrations of the player base regarding, people saying that things are broken. He said, based on the length of time that the account for EFT that each person has been using, based on that length of time that it's been around, they will be getting rewards based on like years of service. So long-standing owners of the game will get in-game gifts as a thank you for being involved in this project, which I thought was kind of cool. He said that they have been watching the raids from a high level and saying that in terms of like the flow of the raid, that they're playing out overall the way that they're supposed to. Now, I'm sure you're going to have instances of hackers and exploiters and all that other stuff, but he said, overall, the way that they're supposed to play out regarding like flow of player traffic and gunplay is the way that he thinks that they're kind of supposed to be going. They're moving in the right direction, and they continue to move in that direction even further, obviously, with the things that are planned. He confirmed that 50 BMGs, specifically Lapuas, are going to be definitely in the game in the future. And then someone also asked about the Thompson, and Nikita said, I don't understand, that has no place in Tarkov at all. So that's basically the notes that I have. Pretty cool stuff. some major things in there, man. I know that this is running like 25 minutes, but I truncated a 3-hour podcast. Okay, so 1/10 of the duration. Just give me a break. All right. So, should I say 1/10? God, I'm awful. 1/6. Jesus, I'm sorry, guys. Math. But yeah, the information about the scavs, the upcoming test server piece is huge, and there's a picture in there of somebody holding akimbo obrezes, which I thought looked really cool. And then I'm gonna go on a limb and say that like the RFID locator, that savvy RFID locator. I'm wondering if that might be like the first item for like extraction. Like you hit the button, you're like, here I am, come get me kind of thing. That would be pretty sweet. Okay. Well, guys, thank you. I'm going to kind of blow myself back up here. Thank you guys very much for taking the time to hang with me. I hope you guys found this informative. Some crazy like little bombshells in this. But man, I am hyped up. This is going to be really cool. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll check you later.